Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this very special edition of the Main Event Talk right here on YouTube. It is Sunday. It is November 23rd, and you guys know what that means. And I think I don't have to explain to you what it is. All you have to know is tonight. It's all going to happen. But there's a bit of a dilemma, a bit of a huge dilemma, especially for every wrestling fan and every single Cowboy fan right now. Now, as you know, we had a bye week. And is it just me, or did it feel like it's 2 weeks? Yeah, but anyways, the Cowboys are going to be taking on the New York Giants, and as I said before on Facebook, it should not be a problem. We take the Giants out like we did before. It's no problem, as long as Eli Manning is the quarterback. Everything will be fine, nothing to it. But like I said a few times, just because they are at 7-3 or 3-7, I'm sorry, does not mean that they won't be able to pull a win on us, because somehow they will. So expect that. Now, the reason for the dilemma: the Cowboys taking on the New York Giants on the same time when WWE Survivor Series is happening, and that's just, oh man. But for me, I have a solution for everything that goes on. Okay, it works out like this: you go to one room and check out WWE Survivor Series. You can check it out on pay-per-view, or you can check it out on the WWE Network for free. Simple as that. And well, for me, you can check it, out on one room, and on the other room, you can check out the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants. That is the solution to my problem. I mean, if Theo's had this deal, and I want to give Theo's an idea. If Theo's has this idea where they can put the football games on one side and put the pay-per-view on the other, it would sell. It would sell easily, because they would go back and forth to go check out WWE Survivor Series and then check out the game at the same time. Can you imagine the drink specials, and can you imagine all the shots and all the beer they'd be taking? Damn, that would work out just fine. But anyways, let me get into what I need to talk about. Today is Survivor Series. It is time. And man, I've been reliving a lot of things that have been happening on WWE Survivor Series, including just yesterday. Yesterday, believe it or not, is the 24th anniversary of the Survivor Series. And there's a reason for that. It was the 1990 Survivor Series. And anybody that remembers 1990, there's three things you have to remember about that Survivor Series. Number one, they had something called the Ultimate Survival Match at the very, very end of the pay-per-view. And then they also had the debut of the Gobbledygooker. Yeah, I remember that fucking egg that had all those question marks, and everybody wondered what the fuck is in the egg. Could it be a dinosaur? Could it be a Playboy Playmate? Personally, I was hoping it would be a Playboy Playmate, because at least it would make a lot of fucking sense. Not the Gobbledygooker, okay? But with all that aside, those were okay, but none were as big as the debut of this huge man that would come in from WCW. Let's get our facts straight out right here, right now, because most of us know about it, and others are still confused about the entire situation. Now, anybody that remembers this character remembers him when he was a part of the Skyscrapers a long time ago in WCW. This man was known as Mean Mark Callis in WCW a long time ago. And he hadn't been seen in WCW since. The last time I saw him in WCW, he had an opportunity to win the United States Championship against then champion, the Total Package, Lex Luger. And he hadn't been seen since then. And then all of a sudden, here comes Survivor Series. Here comes Survivor Series. You got Dream Team versus the Million Dollar Team. On the Dream Team, you had the Hart Foundation, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and Coco Beware. That consists of four. And on the other side, you had the Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase, and Rhythm and Blues, the Honky Tonk Man, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. So it leaves the question: who would be the mysterious man to take part in this event? Well, this man made his debut, and he did it right. He was led to the ring by then manager at the time, Brother Love. He was almost 6'10", 6'11", 320 pounds. The debut of The Undertaker. Yeah, that was one of the coolest and one of the craziest debuts I've ever seen. I mean, just looking, still remembering about what I saw, what I looked at, and everybody was in awe. Can you believe that he was unbeaten from that Survivor Series all the way until 1991. And the crazy thing about it was, I think I could be wrong, but he was probably the first man to have ever been unbeaten and then win the WWE Championship for the first time in his career by defeating Hulk Hogan the following year after 1990 Survivor Series. So yesterday was very historic. It was 24 years ago, and if you guys want to live that entire 1990 Survivor Series, I know a lot of people have. All you got to do is subscribe to the WWE Network, check it out for free. Everything from all the Survivor Series, all the Royal Rumbles, all the WrestleManias, and everything in that particular nature. And man, I still get chill bumps just thinking about the debut of The Undertaker. Just so fucking awesome. Now let's get right into the news about what we need to talk about before we get into Survivor Series. There's a lot of huge news that have been happening, and I want to start by saying this. Everybody had a chance, an opportunity to see the last and final episode. Well, it wasn't the last, it was the last episode, but it wasn't the final episode. I'm talking about Impact Wrestling. If you guys saw the ending of Spike TV's Impact Wrestling, you know that MVP went into a confrontation with Kurt Angle, and then Bobby Roode was getting into a confrontation with Bobby Lashley, and then of course Kenny King got into a confrontation with Mr. Kennedy. So you kind of see like all these crazy elements coming together, but we don't know, the ending. I wish the ending was a whole lot better, and plus I wish it would make sense so that way we would be prepared for what's going to happen next. But the big question would remain is, what is next? Because as you guys know, Spike TV will no longer have Impact Wrestling. So the word that I got a few days ago, and I know you guys have heard about it, December 3rd, I believe they're going to be doing their best of show or something like that, something for Spike TV, because they're still under contract with them and they still got a few more television tapings to work on before they move on to their next thing. And that's the big question. What's the next thing that's happening? Well, if you guys have already heard about it, if you heard about it on TNAWrestling.com, if you've heard about it on every single Facebook page and Twitter page, you know the story. Because it's official, it's done, it's out the window. January 2015, Impact Wrestling has made a new home. And the new home is entitled Destination America. That's right. Destination America will be the new home of Impact Wrestling. Now that Spike TV is pretty much done with Impact Wrestling, now Impact Wrestling can move on to another network, and another network is entitled Destination X. Now, Destination America. I'm going to be, and you'll tell and you'll see it straight up, I'm going to be confusing Destination America with Destination X, because I love saying Destination X a whole lot more than saying Destination America. That's how it works. But anyways, first of all, I'm glad that Destination America is going to take Impact Wrestling, because now it shows me that they are willing to keep Impact Wrestling and move on to the next level. And the big question that now remains is, what's the next big level? What's going to happen next? Well, the thing is, like I said, I've been a huge fan of Impact Wrestling for a long, long time. And I'm not going to say it's getting better. It's just getting to, it's like one of those deals where it was up here, that's 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 up here. We want it to be up here at least, in this level. In the very, very, middle level. That's where it's at this point, all right? It's not reaching at its highest peak like WWE is, But the only question that remains is, who's going to still be in Impact Wrestling? Who's going to be a part of Impact Wrestling? Will there be any changes of any kind to take place with Destination America being a part of Impact Wrestling? Well, we're just going to have to find out until 2015, won't we? Who's still going to be there? Will Bobby Roode be there? Will he still be champion? Will Bobby Lashley be there? Will MVP, Kurt Angle, Austin Aries, Mr. Anderson, who is going to still be there? And more importantly, who is going to be a part of this new Impact Wrestling coming up next year? Because the biggest word I've got so far is, I heard about, the situation that happened with Alberto Del Rio, right? You know about his story. Now, there's been this word, nothing's been confirmed yet, but there's this word that Alberto Del Rio will be a part of Impact Wrestling sometime next year. My thought on that is this: let it happen. Let it happen, because here's the thing. I love Alberto Del Rio, first of all. I even loved him when he was in the WWE. He was a great world champion. he really wasn't that great of a WWE champion. You see the difference. You know how it goes. But but the way that Alberto Del Rio left WWE is still controversial in many ways possible, and it's just ridiculous that here's Alberto Del Rio, this multi-talented wrestler. And first of all, if all of you people, and there's a few of you, they're gonna say that he's boring, here's the thing: you suck. You don't know talent when you see it. Okay? Alberto Del Rio is not that boring. All right? He's not. He's a tremendous athlete. He's great at what he does. He's probably the only Mexican wrestler existing in this company. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, wait a minute, Furman. We got all these other existing Mexican Americans. You know, we got the Lucha Underground and everything else like that. The thing I'm talking about is the fact that Alberto Del Rio, believe it or not, makes the biggest difference in WWE and in TNA. And the thing is, the thing that's missing from TNA wrestling is the fact that there is no world champion that's Latino. That's what needs to happen in Impact Wrestling. Here's the thing. We've had a Canadian in TNA who's became world champion. That would be Christian. We've had a black man become world heavyweight champion. That would be Bobby Lashley. We've had many great athletes like the phenomenal AJ Styles. He was a champion. We've had Jeff Jarrett. He was a champion. Bully Ray, he was a champion. Austin Aries, he was a champion. Bobby Roode, he was a champion. There was so many great talent in there that deserved to be champion. One person I was hoping that would be world champion in TNA wrestling was going to be Chavo Guerrero, but whoever dropped the ball on him needed to be shot in the fucking head. Because now, where's Chavo at? He's over in Lucha Underground, doing better for himself. He's becoming a heel. A lot of people are recognizing him, and he's making such a big impact on Lucha Underground. And all I can say is, if they bring Alberto Del Rio in to TNA wrestling, number one, I hope they treat him with the respect he deserves. And number two, I hope sometime in the near future we see Alberto Del Rio become the next TNA World Heavyweight Champion. But that's just my thought, that's just my opinion, and I know most of you will have your opinions as well, so we'll see what happens. Remember, Destination X is the you see, I told you I said Destination X when I'm supposed to have said Destination America. But anyways, Destination America will be the new home of Impact Wrestling in 2015. So be on the lookout for that, guys. Call your local cable subscriber, look through your channels, and find Destination America. And because that'll be the home of Impact Wrestling in 2015. And the main event, can't wait for that. And of course, remember, December 3rd, a best of show is going to take place with Spike TV. And I believe it's going to be in 2 weeks' time, December 3rd. That's what's going to happen. And who knows, there may be more television tapings after that, but we'll see where all this goes, okay? Impact Wrestling is done for now, but it'll be back on December 3rd on Spike TV, and then it will make its way to Destination America 2015 in January. Can't wait for that. Now, there's a lot of news we need to cover when it comes to WWE and when it comes to the Survivor Series. And guys, you've heard, most of you guys have probably already got the news before I did. Or who knows, maybe you're not hearing about it for the first time, but hear this out. Because as you know, tonight is the night that WWE Survivor Series takes place live on pay-per-view and on the WWE Network. A lot is going to happen. So let me get right down into the list of many matches that are going to take place at WWE Survivor Series. Now, I would like to talk about the Authority versus John Cena, but I'll get to that in a moment. The first match I want to talk about in particular will be for the Women's Championship, for the Divas Championship. AJ Lee will defend the championship against Nikki Bella. My prediction on that is quite simple. I expect Brie Bella to get involved in the match, but I also expect her to also cost her sister the WWE, the WWE Divas Championship, for the obvious reason. You know, tomorrow will be the last time that Nikki and Brie, or Brie Bella is the slave to Nikki Bella. Now, the only thing I'm hoping for, the only thing that I'm begging to happen is one of two things. Either this whole ridiculous Nikki Bella, Brie Bella saga come to an end, or you make Nikki Bella Brie's bitch. Simple as that. Either way, it should work out fine, okay? I'm hoping for that to happen tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. But nonetheless, Nikki Bella, AJ Lee for the Divas Championship.